wife, 60 years of age, walked down the beach hand in hand. And they saw a bottle. They picked it up, uncorked it, and whoosh, a genie that looked like Andrew appeared. And said, wow, man and wife, you love each other so much. But since it was the man who picked up, I'm going to give the man 3 wishes. And so the man talked for a while. My first wish is to be incredibly rich. Next thing he knew, what's that? Beep, 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 beep. Oh, alert from OCBC. You now have 10 billion in your account. Oh, nice. And so the man knew, wow, this genie looks like Andrew, quite solid. Better make a good second wish. And then he wished that all his family members would be happy and healthy. And immediately, whoosh, he suddenly felt brand new, just very optimistic. And he could feel that limp in his leg disappear. He's like, wow, great. What then should be his third wish? And he pondered. And he looked at his wife, his faithful wife, who had followed him all these years. And he told the genie, I love my wife very much, but she used to look a lot better. And I want my wife to be 30 years younger than me. And whoosh, he became 90. Great President, fellow Toastmasters and friends, good evening. Good evening. Why did I share this joke? It's interesting because a lot of the time, there are many things in life that we want, that we're not satisfied with, and we strive for it. But a lot of the time, we look for these things outside. And we start to blame things outside as the reasons why we don't get what we want. For example, on the way here, as I was driving with all the nice food, right? The traffic was quite bad around the Simei area. Apparently, Vincent says there is such a thing as the terrible, legendary Simei Jam. And I experienced it for the first time. And there I was in the car, being very impatient, wishing I had my fidget spinner to while the stress away while driving. And I thought, why are there so many cars? What's wrong with all these people? Can't they just go home later or earlier, just not be in my way? But when very simply put, we all know that it happens because it happens. And if I wanted to have a stress-free driving experience, I could either Uber or just leave earlier, isn't it? And with that in mind, I'd like to share 3 instances from which I learned that to get the love of my life, I will need to change myself. In the same way that for everyone here, if there's something you want to get, don't look for changing something outside, but look for changing it within. And let's begin with a story that started when I was just 17. You know what I mean. I was actually tiny, cute, and my voice was wee, 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 wee. It was quite sad. Puberty eluded me. I never had a chance at it until much later. But as you heard from my introduction, I love girls. I think I still do. And you think? And anyway, after a long period of trying, I met this girl, Kylie. Or rather, I got her hand. I got her to say, yes, I'll be your girlfriend. And so back then, I was this hopeless romantic, as you remember, small, tiny, wee, 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 right? And so the first time she held my hand, I felt this pulse of electricity. Like, wow, I'm a man now. And I thought very much that we'd be happily ever after. The way that I was, the way that she was. And just holding a hand was the most amazing thing in the world. And then I learned that I should give all of my time to her. She stayed in Yishun, I stayed in Tanah Merah. Every day we'd meet and I'll send her all the way home before taking the train all the way back home and waste a lot of time in the process. But as I did that, one day she told me, Kin, 男人不坏，女人不爱. Which means, boy not bad, girl no like. And it didn't make sense to me because I thought that you should always treat girls well. That's what a gentleman does, and I think of myself as such. I mean, I'm a hopeless romantic, right? And hopeless it was. In about 2 months of dating, she ran off with some cavalier abing from her class. And I found out, well, 1 week later. And I learned something from that process. I thought, why is she such a terrible person? How could she leave me? I was willing to give her everything. But in retrospect, from that, I actually learned to think for myself and think about what I want. And it's okay to be a bad boy sometimes. And I look at another relationship, one I had in New York when I was in college. Her name was, oh, I shouldn't tell her name. Her name was E, and she was clinically depressed. We spent many, many evenings in her place where I would be grabbing her around the waist to stop her from jumping out of the window. Oh, this is not a joke, real one. Real one, real one. Another time in Hawaii, she woke me up and I saw a noose hanging from the ceiling. She said, I just tried to kill myself and it felt good. Imagine being in that situation. What would you do as a boyfriend?
You kill yourself.
You jump like jump.
What I actually got from that experience was that I learned how to be incredibly patient. Simply because when you love something and you can't help her to be better, you have to be patient and just sit through it. Another relationship that I learned how to try new things. I went to Bangkok with another ex-girlfriend and she made me eat a grasshopper, a fried grasshopper. Amazingly, it tasted like potato chips. And as I look at myself today, being a trainer, enjoying talking to people, a far cry from the wee kid that I was, I realized that every bad thing that has happened that I lamented, that I cried over a lot of those, made me someone better, someone stronger, and someone that I'm proud of. And so I'm very happy to say that today I finally found that true love in this journey of change, by changing myself. And this true love is smart, intelligent, good-looking, humorous, ultimately successful. And that person is me. Right? Because when you change yourself to be the person that you want to be, everything else will fall in place. So change yourself, find true love, and I'll see you at the top.